Good morning and welcome to another episode of Holy FaceTime. We've been away for a while. We've been dealing with a death in the family. My wife lost her father on Monday, and so it's been a busy week for us. And thank you for all your prayers out there for those of you who know us personally. But anyway, so we've missed a lot of feasts. Unfortunately, there was the Feast of St. Teresa of Avila, and yesterday was also the Feast of St. Peter Cantera, and but it's also today in the Franciscan order they celebrate his feast. St. Peter Cantera was a Franciscan discalced, which I didn't even know existed until I read it this morning. And he was also the confessor of St. Teresa of Avila. So that's just an amazing sort of link between the feast days and the recent saints that we celebrate. And today in the Universal Church, we celebrate the feast of the Martyrs of North America, Blessed Isaac Jogues and Francois de Brébeuf. And I guess there's a personal relationship to Francois de Brébeuf through my wife somehow. But anyway, Canada doesn't celebrate that until we celebrate on September the 26th. We celebrate it as the Feast of the Canadian Martyrs. But there's some interesting stuff in there. Maybe I'll just do a quick read of a portion of it in St. Francis. Was it St. Isaac? St. Isaac Jogues. And he was talking about on their way to martyrdom, and he was kind of dictated this beautiful thing, and I don't know who wrote this down, but anyway, he was talking about how the Hurons were beating them as they were marching, and he said that they were so beaten, our bodies were livid and our faces are all bloody, but René Coupel was more disfigured than the rest, so that nothing white appeared in his face except his eyes. I found him all the more beautiful in his resemblance to Jesus, who bore a face which viewed with delight by the angels, though he appeared to us in the midst of his anguish like a leper. So a beautiful way to contemplate the holy face in others. And just on a side note, when Joanne's father was dying in the hospital, there was a certain look on his face, and he was in agony breathing, and he had one eye was closed and the other eye was half open looking down. And it was just to me that I saw the face of Christ looking at us, and how he died of asphyxiation, and how Joanne's father, Walter, died in the same way in his last breathing, and just contemplating that in the face of Christ. And it was a very holy death. He died peacefully, and again, we were thankful for the many blessings of having our son, a priest, who was there to give Joanne's father the last rites and to bless him and commend his spirits. And apostolic pardon, and just the commending of his spirit to the Lord. And he waited, before passing, he waited until all of the children were present, and as soon as the last brother had come in and kneeled down and he was praying before Joanne's father, and that's when our son, priest Brian, Father Brian, did the commendation of the last releasing the spirit and to the Lord, and he passed away just very serenely, and it was just an amazing holy death. At least I believe so, anyways, personally. So, just a few thoughts on that in the Holy Face, and I also wanted to talk about today is the In the Marian calendar, it's the dedication of the Holy Cross and Our Lady Abbey, Royaumont, France, in 1235, and it was founded by St. Louis. And the dedication of the Abbey, under the title of the Holy Cross and Our Lady, by John, Archbishop Marian, in the year 1235, this monastery was founded by St. Louis in the year 1227. It was actually in the year 1228 when King St. Louis IX of France planned for the construction of a new church in honor of God and his Blessed Mother in the valley of Oise. He and his mother Blanche left their palace to reside at nearby Chateau d'Azarny to be able to direct their efforts to the building of a new church. And after purchasing the land himself, the king changed the name from Coumont to Royaumont. It was certainly nothing unusual to see the monks assisting in the construction of their own church, but St. Louis himself labored enthusiastically alongside the workmen and stonemasons. Many of the king's family members followed his good example, so that soon there were many French noblemen working throughout the site. But that is not all. For when the monks sat down to eat at the refectory, the king waited on over 100 monks as they ate at 2 long tables. First, he would sample their food before setting it before anyone, and then he would taste their wine to be certain it was up to his own personal standard, and if he were not satisfied, the king would demand a better vintage for the religious. On Holy Thursday, he would wash the feet of the beloved monks of Royaumont. An incredibly humble king, St. Louis. So, and when the church was completed, it was so wondrous a work that it was said at the time that none but a king could have constructed such an edifice. Purely Gothic-style church, having a nave which both astounded and alarmed by its colossal height and boldness, that reached nearly the height of Notre Dame in Paris. It was a labor of love made by St. Louis of God and his Blessed Mother. It was it was a love made by St. Louis to God and his Blessed Mother. When it was finished, King Louis was wedded there to his beloved Marguerite, the beautiful daughter of Béranger IV. The king allocated 500 liras to be given yearly to the support of Abbey. There was also an infirmary attached to the monastery, and among those who were cared for was a leper by the name of Frère Léger. At this time, lepers were isolated and treated as social outcasts. The leper's disease would slowly kill them, but even while they were alive, most were usually treated as if they were already among the dead. King Louis, instead, took a personal interest in the leper, and he would visit him frequently with the abbot, saying, "Let us go and visit our patient." Then together they would enter Léger's isolated cell and kindly greet the horrifically disfigured patient. The king would then speak with Léger familiarly and inquire as to his condition before preparing a sumptuous meal for him with his own hands. The king would then feed the leper with a loving attention, waiting on him to finish his repast, as he continued to converse with him as if he were equal to the King of France himself. If one were to visit Royaumont today, they would find the ruined church with little more than outer walls, and a few of surrounding buildings that are still in good condition. Royaumont, like so much that spoke of the love of God in Catholic France, was a victim of the French Revolution. And it was the Marquis de Travant who had purchased Royaumont from the state when he was ordered to destroy the venerable old church. The Abbey church easily withstood the discharges of mines that were meant to destroy it, but later the central pillars were sawn through. Massive chains were cast through the stained glass windows that had lighted the interior of the church for centuries, and then attached to those pillars, pulled by teams of oxen, the roof of the church fell in. A salvo of flying fragments amid shouts of diabolical triumph, so that nothing now remained but the outer walls. In 1812, the Marquis allowed his brother, the Vicomte de Travant, to establish his cotton manufacturing business there, employing the English prisoners to do the needed labor. He paid dearly for his sacrilege, even in his life, as he did so, soon denounced with his brother and both arrested. Narrowly escaping the guillotine, he was eventually freed, although the privations he had suffered while incarcerated soon led to his death. The cotton business thus failed, and the equipment was sold in the year 1815 to a cotton magnate from Belgium named Joseph van der Merch. Although Merch seemed to have a certain respect for the ruins, replacing them where they once stood, whenever possible, he also met with an early death and failed business. It was during the time that he owned Royaumont, that the pilgrimages began, and it was on the feast of King St. Louis IX in the year 1865 when the Abbey was acquired by the Oblate Fathers. And though Royaumont was once again in the Catholic hands, they had no ability to rebuild the church from the ruins. In fact, only 5 years later they were obliged to sell the abbey to the Sisters of the Holy Family of Bordeaux, and they in turn sold the property in 1905 by order of the government, and thus ended the dream of St. Louis the Ninth of France, whose good works are safely held by God in the treasury of heaven. So, my dear friends in Christ, we can see this amazing testimony of King St. Louis of France, who was one of the patron saints of the Holy Face because of his defense in honor of the name of God. What a very holy man, and just led an extremely life of service to the people of France and to his kingdom. And, and even as far as going to serve the lepers, and the dignity of what he did for the poor, and just amazing, astounding. Anyway, until next time, God bless you all. Blessed be his holy name. Blessed be the adorable face of Jesus. Bye now.